So I lied. This is not going to be a short video. I wanted to do something a little special for the last video before opening day. So we're going to do this one. We're going to be ranking all the 2024 teams in a tier list, and at the end, I'll give my standings predictions. I'm not doing playoffs; they're too weird and funky. And I don't want to shoot myself in the foot. So without too much more delay, I don't think there's any spring training news we can get in. Oh, roll that back. The lineups did come out, and after they reassigned everybody, um, it does look a little different than my lineup prediction video. So I go ahead and tell you what Snit's thinking. So he has Ronald, Ozzy, Austin, Matt, Marcel, Michael, Sean Murphy, Orlando Arcia, and Jared Kelenic. Kelenic batting ninth is in response to his struggles. He has been hitting the ball a lot better and actually getting some hits as of late. I think a lot of people overreacted, as people do, to his early spring numbers because he's adjusting to a new swing, guys. He's adjusting to a change. He's been hitting the bar. He's been hitting the bar hard all spring training long. He's been hitting the ball hard all spring training long, and he's getting some results. Had to hit a double or a triple rather. He was just shy of a home run a couple days ago. So yeah, Jared Kelenic seems like he's getting that swing and hitting the ball a little harder. Kevin Seitzer never showed any sort of loss of faith in him. He just said the swing looks good, and that's all he cares about. Alrighty, so that's pretty much it. We don't have to roll into anything else too jarring. So let's get into the video. Okay, so it looks like we're all ready to go. As you can see, our tiers are the Braves and the Dodgers. I wonder who goes in there. World Series contenders, proven talent, but looking for a lot more this year. I wouldn't sleep on these teams. Then you just have mid, bad teams with upside, and then the A's and the Rockies. Whoop, did not mean to do that. Oh, no. What's happening here? Maybe stupid. Okay, we're all fixed now. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the two best teams, and that's going to be the Braves and the Dodgers. These are obviously 1A and 1B, depending on the day, whoever you like. Of course, I'm going to think the Braves are better because I do have a little bias and I'm a little bit more familiar with the club. But I genuinely think the Braves do have a claim to being the best team in baseball. The top three in the order for the Braves and the Dodgers are very interchangeable. They're very hard. Top four even. Look, for the Braves, you got Ronnie, Ozzy, and Matt, and/or Austin. That's your top four. Then for the Dodgers, you're going to have Mookie, Freddie, Shohei, and Will Smith, who are all incredibly solid players. Three of them are MVPs. One of them, I don't know if he'll win an MVP in his career, but is very solid as a catcher and very good hitting. The rest of I would say the Braves lineup is deeper, but I would say the Dodgers rotation has a lot more upside. So it's kind of give or take, whichever you want. They're very even, and I think everybody knows how deep and good they are. So we're not going to spend too much more time on them. All right, let's move to the A's and the Rockies because that's the next easiest to grade. The A's and the Rockies are the worst teams in baseball, and I think they're very interchangeable. I think the A's at least have a plan, and we all know what that plan is, no matter how slimy, schemy it is. It's a plan. The Rockies owner came out last year and said that they could play 500 ball, and they wound up losing 100-plus games for the first time in their franchise's history last year. I do not believe in either one of these teams at all. I would say the Colorado Rockies are actually the worst team in baseball because I genuinely do not see a vision anywhere. I don't know how far along Zach Veen is. I know he had a really tough injury a couple years ago. Michael Tolley is no longer a first baseman. They're putting him anywhere they want to. Brandon Rogers is going to be back, which I am excited to watch. Chris Bryant has got to do something. The rotation is but... Jeez, what else can you say? Just two terrible, terrible teams. Okay, let's move into bad teams with upside. And my first team I'm going to put there is actually going to be the Washington Nationals. I love what the Nationals are doing. I'm really excited to watch some of them. I am a C.J. Abrams truther. A lot of people that I've talked to around my campus say that he sucks. And I say maybe now, but look, give him some time and he will excite you. He was really good in the second half last year. It looks like he really found his swing and actually found a way to be a lot more dangerous than he was prior to on the base path. So I'm looking forward to watching that. Lane Thomas is a guy. Stone Garrett's a guy. The rotation could be very interesting with Josiah Gray and Mackenzie Gore. I forgot him for a second. Keibert Ruiz. He didn't have the best season last year, but I'm looking forward to a bounce back from him this year. Yeah, I think the people are sleeping on Washington a little bit. They just signed Gallo and Rosario, who can put up some good numbers for them, so they're going to have some pop in that lineup, even if they're gone by the trade deadline. I would put them in don't sleep on them, but I just don't think they're there yet. They very well might be on the doorstep, and they might do it this year, but I just don't think they're at that tier yet, though. But I'm very high on the Nationals. I still don't think they're going to finish higher than maybe 4th place. Next one, I'm going to put Detroit. Detroit finished 2nd last year, but I think that was in combination with the Central being really bad. Detroit is relying on their young studs. They signed a lot of rotation depth this offseason. I really like that for them. I just don't know how much I can believe in them. This is the same kind of stuff that got them in trouble in 2022 when after a very good second half in 2021, they went out and signed everybody, and then they sucked again, and now they're back at square one, it seems. But they did have that whole general manager thing last year. I don't know. You can wish on the Tigers and like the Nationals. They might be in the do not sleep on them. But I would say right now probably the Tigers are better than the Nationals. Move back here. Yeah. Because I think they just have a lot more higher prospect pedigree than Washington does at the moment. And I don't want to put them at do not sleep on them. I really don't. Because they haven't shown us anything to believe in them yet. And I just realized there needs to be another tier in this list, so I'm going to go ahead and make that right now. Or do I? I'm going to do it like this. The White Sox are going in the A's and the Rockies, and I'll correct that right now. The White Sox are they're going to suck this year. They're going to be really, really, really bad. That rotation is going to be headed by Michael Soroka. Garrett Crochet is their opening day starter, but I think Michael Soroka is going to have the more superior year to him. He's looked really good in spring, and of course, I'm a big Michael Soroka guy. So I think that he's going to be a good year. But that lineup has no saving grace. They traded and signed 4 or 5 different middle infielders. Paul DeYoung is going to be playing some games for them. Shout out Kevin Pillar. Shout out King Jesse Chavez. But no, this team's miserable. They have a long road ahead of them, and I really hope that Chris Getz knows what he's doing this time. They got some decent prospects back in the Dylan Cease trade with the Padres. The Padres always have good prospect depth. But yeah, no, the White Sox are going to blow this year. They might lose 100 games. I don't think they're that bad, but I could be very shocked here. I mean, there's some funk happening in Chicago. Okay, so let's add a player. Let's add our first team to the mid column, and that's going to be the Cleveland Guardians. This shouldn't surprise anybody. The Cleveland Guardians lineup is in desperate need of something of substance, which it will never get, apparently. Pitching rotation is good. It looks like they're going to hang on to Shane Bieber a little bit longer. They're going to have Tristan McKenzie coming back. They're going to have, of course, a couple more pieces working in and out through the 3 through 5 because that's the way they're built. But no, the Guardians are so mid. They can win the Central, but that's because the Central's so bad. So yeah, not a big believer in the Cleveland Guardians, but that's where they are. While we're at it, we're going to do another mid team, and it's going to be the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't think Pittsburgh is going to be bad this year. I think that they are going to probably finish somewhere around 75 wins or so. I can wish upon that lineup, and I can squint my eyes and see something in the rotation. They're still not a great baseball team, but I think they can be mid. I don't even want to put them in bad teams with upside because really, hang on a minute. Let me think about this. Emory Davis, O'Neal Cruz, Keller just got that huge extension with them. They have Brian Reynolds, Andrew McCut. Okay, now I'm talking myself into this. Do I want to put them in mid? If you believe in the lineup, which I kind of do, I think they could be better than Detroit and Washington. Brian Reynolds is a stud. Jack Sawinski's going to be good. He's got to cut down on the strikeouts, though. O'Neal Cruz is back. Henry Davis is going to be good. Ke'Bryan Hayes is the most underrated third baseman in all of baseball. I say underrated because people don't talk about him, not because he's some of the best, but people need to talk about Ke'Bryan Hayes more. And Andrew McCutchen's going to be back. McCutchen was good last year. Unfortunately, he had to go down with injury, but I think injuries really killed that Pirates team last year. Not that they were going to make any noise in the Central, but their progress, they got set back with injuries. I think O'Neal's going to have a good year for his first full year in the big time. Was it his first? Yeah, it has to be his first full year. But yeah, I'm excited for the Pirates. I always look out for them, but I don't think they're going to be anything too special. But I would love to watch them play spoiler, similar to Detroit and Washington. And go back to Detroit for a second. I think they can win the Central. I really do. It's just going to take a lot of things falling their way. Okay, let's go to the mid-tier again. And I hate to put them in mid because I don't even think they're mid. I think they're bad. The Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox act like they're Tampa Bay. They're not Tampa Bay. They're not remotely close to Tampa Bay. I think that lineup can bang. I really do. I think Masataka Yoshida had an up and down year, but I think he's going to be solid this year. I mean, look, you got a healthy Trevor Story, Rafael Devers, Tristan Cassis is a guy, Duran, and you start to talk yourself into some stuff. And not to mention, Vaughn Grissom's going to be there. Vaughn Grissom's going to hit. I think he's going to hit. I think he's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, he's starting on the injured list or something of that nature. But he's going to hit. Now, the thing that draws back about the Boston Red Sox is that their rotation is not good in the slightest. Brian Bayo, and they have Cutter. They're going to be good, solid. I don't know what else they have beyond that, though. And that's on me for not doing my research as firmly for the Red Sox. But from what I understand, this team just is suffering for pitching. This is now, I don't know where Montgomery's going to sign. I did this so late because I wanted a lot of the free agents to come off the board, and we'll talk about that when we get to the teams that they went to. But right now, Jordan Montgomery is still unsigned. I think he'd be a perfect fit with Boston. But even if he did sign with the Red Sox, I don't know how much I can move them up for mid. I think you could put them up to don't sleep on him. But still, yeah, no, it's not looking good for them. Speaking of don't sleep on them, let's go ahead and put a team in there that, just go ahead and put a team in there. That way they're in there. I'm going to start with the Padres. The Padres are good. I don't want people to be lost on that. Yeah, they had a really bad season last year, but they finished 81-81. They had a strong second half. They had a terrible record in one run in extra inning games. And a bunch of just fluky stuff happened to them last year. Look, they're going to have Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, and Dylan Cease is going to work well in that rotation. That's a really good top three. And any help they can get from the other half of their rotation, whoever they're going to try to figure in there, I think it's going to be good. I think they really should have tried to keep Seth Lugo or Michael Wacha. That really would have been able to anchor them and give them a solid 4. But they're in Kansas. Or I should say Kansas City. It's not Kansas. But that lineup still is so strong. Manny Machado is going to be great. Xander Bogaerts had a really good year. Ha-Seong Kim broke out in a big way. I don't think he's going to be as good this year as he was last year. But I could always be, proven wrong. I still think he's probably a top 4 or 5 shortstop in the game. Depending on how you're looking at it, and if you include Mookie Betts in that polling, which some people do. I can't put Mookie Betts anywhere right now because he can play second, short, and right field. But I think he's going to be middle of it. We're not talking about the Dodgers. But yeah, I think the Padres really could make a run. The NL West has gotten really strong in the past month. which is very interesting to talk about. We'll get to that when we get to the Giants. You know what? I think we can talk about the Giants right now. And I don't even think that they're do not sleep on them anymore. I thought they were do not sleep on them um, maybe like a month ago. Literally a month ago. I thought they were do not sleep on them. Because I think they could make some noise, but now with the addition of Snell and Chapman, which everyone thought that Chapman was going to the Giants all off season, it's finally happened. I think the Giants are going to be good this year, which helps me because I'm a Giants truther. Of the Giants, but this lineup I think has gotten a lot better. Jung Hoo Lee, Jorge Soler, Matt Chapman, Tario Estrada is going to be good for them. Wilmer Flores is going to be back. You have to get something out of Mike Yastrzemski. Patrick Bailey, it really doesn't matter how much he hits as long as he has Gold Glove defense, which he almost won the Gold Glove last year and he only played like three games or something like that. Blake Snell is going to be solid in that rotation. You have the 1 and 2 in the 2023 Cy Young finishes in Snell and Logan Webb. And the Giants have a pitching factory. I'm not worried about them. You have Kyle Harrison backing him up, Alex Cobb whenever he's ready to go, and Robbie Ray, who they traded for, and I don't think a lot of people talk about that, is because Robbie Ray is in the Bay. He went from Seattle in the what's his name? Mitch Haniger trade. And I also forgot about their other outfielder in Michael Conforto, who can be good. But no, I believe in the Giants this year. The NL West is going to be really exciting, which we'll talk about when we get to the standings of it. Yeah, let's move on. I'm going to go ahead and fill up another one in bad teams with upside. We're going to go with Kansas City. I think a lot of people were really excited about Kansas City signing Bobby Witt. I think this is a team that everybody kind of wants to be successful. They have a really good rotation for what they are this year. You're going to have Cole Reagans at the top. You're going to have Cole Reagans at the top. Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo are filling up as well. Any other warm body you can find is going to work well in there. Kyle Wright's not going to be ready for them this year, but he will be next year, which is something to talk about for them next year. I think that's going to be very interesting. But yeah, Kansas City, that lineup is still struggling. I mean, Vinny Pasquantino is going to be back. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be doing his thing. Bobby Witt Jr. might do 40-70, the same thing Ronald Acuna did last year. He might do it this year because he has that potential. In reality, I think he's more of a 35 homer guy rather than a 40 bomb, but I could be seriously wrong there. Bobby Witt Jr. is ridiculously good. But yeah, right now they're bad teams with upside. I don't think they're going to win the Central. I think, I would say the Tigers are still better than them because they have a lot more prospect pedigree, and that lineup is a little bit deeper. I mean, you got Torkelson. If Green can be healthy, you got Mark Canha in Detroit. So yeah, I would still take Detroit's lineup over Kansas City, but not by a lot, simply because Bobby Witt Jr. is that good. But yeah, I think that's a fair tier for them. You could really put. Am I going to put the rest of the Central in there? No, I'm not. If I put the rest of the Central on board, I'm missing a team. Who am I missing? Am I stupid? Wait a minute. Detroit, Kansas City, White Sox. I am stupid. I put Cleveland in mid-tier. Okay, I want to move on from this and be a little bit positive. So we're going to do our first one in proven, but looking for more. And that's going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks. Notice how I didn't put them in the World Series contenders tier because, I don't know. I really liked what they did in the lineup. Okay. I've thought about this a little more now. And I think I'm willing to do this. Whatever I put in the World Series contenders tier, Arizona is going to be down here. I like their rotation. Signing of Eduardo Rodriguez is huge. Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly are going to be great. What's Brandon Pfaadt going to look like? I think it's a huge question. That lineup's going to be amazing. Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Gabby Moreno, although he didn't really show it in the regular season, he came alive for the postseason. Christian Walker is going to be a guy. I said Eduardo Escobar. And Eugenio Suarez, He's going to be good at the hot corner for them. He's going to need to turn around. I think he had a better year in Seattle last year, but I think he's been a little slept on, and for good reason. I don't think he's put up the years that he's capable of doing, but he's going to be great. Keeping Yuli Gurriel was huge for them. He was massive all throughout the regular season. He provides such depth at the outfield. Love that for him. But I'm just going to need to see more from the Diamondbacks, which is why I was about to put them in proven but looking for more, because I just need to see a little bit more. They had a negative run differential in the regular season. I think a lot of people forget about that. They squeaked into the playoffs. It's really going to come down to, can they win the West? Because now they have to compete with not only the Dodgers, San Fran's making a push, and San Diego seems to be back. So the only person in the division you can really kick on is Colorado. You don't play a lot of your games against them. So it's going to be a matter of, can the Diamondbacks perform well enough in the West to win the wild card, or can they win the West? I mean, I think every team in the West is capable of winning it, except for, do I want to take that back? Yeah, I would say the Diamondbacks in LA are the top dogs in the NL West. So I mean, I would still take the Dodgers by a heavy favorite, but stranger things have happened. But yeah, really high on the Snakes this year. I think they're going to be great. But the thing is, will they be able to not have a negative run differential? They gotta find a way to fix the bullpen. Bullpen needs work for them, but I think the lineup and the rotation are very solid. Okay, what do we want to... I'm going to do this because I got a buddy who's a Brewers fan, and I love to make him suffer. The Brewers are the definition of mid. I think they're going to be just brutally mid-tier this year. They're going to be boring to watch. Corbin Burns is gone. Freddie Peralta is going to head that rotation, which he's going to be great, but at what cost? And the calling card for the Brewers has always been the pitching over the hitting, and I don't even know if they have the pitching depth this year. They're going to pull someone out and be able to roam with them for a couple months because they're the Brewers, but they're mid. I think they're going to finish third or second in the Central. Yeah, I'm not a big believer in Milwaukee. They should. Now, there is something to be said that they have ran the Central for a while, and they did have a really good record against teams in their division last year. But I think that was with a much stronger lineup and Corbin Burns. And Corbin Burns has a really good record against everybody else in their division. Yeah. Okay, since we're on the Central, let's figure out where we're putting St. Louis. St. Louis isn't a bad team. They had a bad year. So they don't belong in bad teams with upside. They're not mid because they have the talent to be World Series contenders. Are people sleeping on the... I'm going to put them here for the sake that I think people might be sleeping on them. Maybe because of a bad year, but they're the Cardinals. The Cardinals went out and put in some work in the rotation. Miles Michaelis is going to be returning, but you're also getting Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson along with Sonny Gray. I think Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson, I think you know what you're going to get. Lance Lynn's a little bit of a reclamation project. So if they do something with that, but Sonny Gray is going to be good for them if he's healthy. He's a little bit older, so that's going to be a tough pill to swallow a little bit. St. Louis has a great lineup. Tyler O'Neill's gone. I'm a Tyler O'Neill truther. He's going to be good in Boston. But Brandon Donovan's going to be good. Nolan Gorman's going to be good. Paul Goldschmidt and Wilson Contreras had a great year, despite all the drama nonsense with him hurting the pitching staff somehow. Nolan Arenado is going to be solid. Jordan Walker, oh my God. This lineup can be super, super good. But yeah, the pitching is going to be where it has to come down to. And I think everybody in the lineup had a down year last year, and I think it was just a perfect storm of, it was the baseball gods coming to St. Louis and saying, okay, you've had it too good for too long, so we're going to have to shut you down for a year. I think that's exactly what happened. So I would want to put them in World Series contenders, but they have to prove that last year wasn't an aberration. So I'm putting them in do not sleep on it. All right, so we're going to go with our next team, and I think this might surprise some people. You know what? I can't do it anymore. Another mid-tier team is going to be the Angels. I want to believe in the Angels so bad. I love the Angels. Ron Washington's my guy. Mike Trout is formerly the best player in baseball. He's fallen off because he's been injured, but I think that's pretty reasonable. But man, I think the biggest thing for the Angels is that they don't have any pitching. I don't know the status of their guys like Patrick Sandoval and Reed Detmers and this, that, and the other. I don't know what they're looking like. So I think if you take into account the pitching is going to be back, they can be solid in that regard. That lineup's interesting. Can Quad A player Joe Adell actually do it at the big leagues? It's been proven no. But can he get like a 98 OPS plus? Can he be painfully league average? I think that's what the lineup might need. Just a little bit something else. Noah Shanuel is going to be interesting. I think he's like a Luis Arias hitman, where he's not getting a lot of barrel on the bat, but he's just getting on base somehow, some way. So we'll see if that's true. I already talked about Mike Trout. We don't need to talk about Mike Trout. Anthony Rendon, hate him, but he's on the team. Logan O'Hoppe is going to be interesting to look at. But if you look at the lineup, you can believe in the lineup. I will say that. You can believe in the lineup, but I don't know if you can believe in the rotation or the bullpen. So yeah, that's what I was going to put them in. Don't sleep on them, but I really don't believe in the pitching, so they're in mid. All right, we're going to actually put someone in proven but looking for more, and that's going to be the Blue Jays. I can't call the Blue Jays World Series contenders because they have such a good lineup. They have such a good rotation, but their first round exits every single year. It doesn't make any sense. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, and George Springer, in theory, are a killer 1-2-3. Dalton Varsho, that trade's looking like a disaster for Toronto, but look at the rotation. If Alek Manoah can be healthy, Chris Batts going to be back, Jose Barrios is going to be back. You're going to have Yusei Kikuchi. Oh, and did I forget about Kevin Gausman? Oh my. Look, this team in every way, shape, or form should be World Series contenders, but they have been in that... You've said that about the Toronto Blue Jays every single year since 2021. You've said that about them every single year. But they haven't done anything about it. They haven't proven anything other than their first round exits. So I'm going to have to put them in proven, but looking for more. I hope that they're not the only team in there. I think we can find something else for them. But yeah, that's where they're going to sit right now. Okay, let's add another team to that tier, and it's going to be another team who wears white and blue in the Chicago Cubs. Not putting the Chicago Cubs in the World Series contender because I don't even know if they can win the Central. But they have a lot of good-looking talent. Of course, they missed out on a lot of big free agents this offseason. I think they were definitely looking for more. I haven't looked at the spring numbers, but I think Shoto Imanaga is going to be able to make the transition. He's a good veteran pitcher, and he's going to be very good in that rotation. Justin Steele, I don't know if you can bank on him being what he was last year, but I think he's still going to be incredibly solid. I'm not saying he's going to diminish or regress that much. I just don't know if you can have the Cy Young Justin Steele that he was on for the heater that he was on for a couple months. But I mean, you certainly can. I think Justin Steele is the guy. Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner are going to be really good. The rest of our lineup's a little interesting. I think they can all swing it, but it's just going to be a matter if they can do it consistently. I think that's the big word for them, is just being consistent. Is this really the team that we saw like around July, around summer, when they went on that big run? Is this really that team? I still think they're good. They're proven, but they're looking for more. I can't call them World Series contenders just yet, but I do think they're playoff contenders. Heavily favorites for the playoffs, I would say. But with the West getting better, they'll have to compete with them as well. It's going to be an interesting season for the Cubs. And joining them in that tier is their central brethren, and that is the Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati is going to be great this year. I think they're going to be super good. I think they can win the Central. They're in the same boat as Chicago. Can they prove it and do it again? I think everybody went a little bit overboard with the Cincinnati Reds hype last year because they thought they were going to win the World Series. but they didn't have any pitching. But their pitching was a little banged up last year. They can definitely come back for it. Can Hunter Green be the guy that they paid him to be? Or they paid him like he was going to be? Graham Ashcraft is one of my favorite names in all of baseball. He's going to be good. They signed Jeimer Candelario to handle the hot corner, and it makes me wonder, when are the Cincinnati Reds going to push for some pitching? They really could have done it this offseason with Dylan Cease and Corbin Burns. Of course, it was going to be a very hefty penalty of trade in division. They probably wouldn't do it anyway, but he was on the market. I did a video on it earlier that the White Sox wanted like the Reds 1, 3 through 5 prospects plus some major leaguers in that package, which was not happening. Which was the smart decision by Cincinnati. They should have done that. But as the price went down, I mean, look, you saw what Chicago got when they traded for the Padres. The price was obviously going down. Check back in with them. They really could have used someone like Dylan Cease in that rotation, because it needs a guy at the top. It feels like it's a rotation of a lot of anchors. I still think they can win the Central pretty easily. It's just going to be how they play the Central. They were really bad against the Brewers last year. I don't know how you measure how they were against St. Louis last year, because everyone was good against St. Louis last year. They stunk. But yeah, I think that's actually the NL Central dealt with, if I'm not mistaken. So Milwaukee, St. Louis, Cincinnati, and Chicago. And the Pirates, yeah. So that's the Central on the board. Central's pretty mid, as opposed to the rest of the elite around the league in the National League. So that means we're winding down the list, and that means a lot of these guys that we're going to talk about pretty soon are your World Series contenders. But I'm going to save those for later on, and we're going to continue filling out the rest of the board. So let's look at a mid-team, our last mid-team on the board, and that's going to be the Miami Marlins. Look at me in the eyes and tell me what the Marlins did this year to improve upon what they did last year. I'm not certain on this, but I think Miami was either at or dangerously close to a negative run differential last year. If the Yuri Perez injury is real, that kills their rotation. I think they still have Braxton Garrett still going to be there. Jesus Luzardo is a guy. I mean, they still have really good pieces, but I just don't believe in that lineup. I really don't. Jake Berger's going to be good, and so is Luis Arias. But is it going to be their prospects that come through and actually do something? I don't know. Yeah, I think Miami's going to be mid, and they might finish last this year. They might be competing 4th place with. And that's going to be the New York Mets. And guys, call me a weirdo, call me a strange little man, but I am putting the Mets in do not sleep on them. I know that sounds crazy, but guys, this lineup is a little interesting. Pete Alonso in a walk here. For my money, the second best shortstop in all of baseball, Francisco Lindor, and it is close. We'll talk about the number 1 best later on, but it is very close. A rotation of Jose Quintana. Kodai Singh is injured right now, but he'll be back. A couple of the other pieces in there that you can look at and say, okay, but I think the main calling card is this lineup. We're counting on a lot of bounce back years here, though. I would say the headlining members are Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, and Francisco Alvarez. He's going to be a guy. I think this team can make the playoffs. If everything goes right to them, I think they can make the playoffs with 85 wins. I think the floor for the Mets, let me take that back. The floor for the Mets is always like 162 because they're the Mets. But realistically, I think they could lose 80 games. Maybe they could lose 85 games, something like that. I don't know if this is a 90-loss ball club. I don't think they're that bad. I think last year was just a terrible year for everybody all around. And they just continue to dig themselves deep into a hole. Look, it's a new age in the Queens. You got a new manager. You're going to be looking at, you're really going to be squarely looking at firmly your franchise guy, Francisco Lindor, next year, because I don't know if Pete Alonso is coming back, because the second they hit the free agent market, you never know what's going to happen. I think that maybe they probably do re-sign him, but look, it's the free agent market. Everybody thought the Braves were going to re-sign Freddie. But yeah, no, I'm actually a big believer in these Mets. That might be some um, belief misput somewhere, but hey, I think they're not going to be terrible. Brett Beatty seems like he's having a good spring. Mark Vientos is gonna be good. So yeah, I don't know. They've convinced me. I've been convinced by nothing at all, other than just looking at their roster and saying, how can this team lose 100 games? So I'll be interested in that. Okay, let's knock out our last team before we get to the World Series contenders, and that's going to be the Minnesota Twins. The Twins didn't do anything this offseason. They were worried about price cap, or a salary cap, rather. Not cap, but luxury tax, blah, 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 blah. Carlos Correa had a bad year last year. I think he's going to bounce back this year. Can Brian Buxton stay healthy? These are all questions that surround the club indefinitely. I think the rotation is going to be really good. Ryan's going to be solid for them. Is he ready to take that next step? We'll see. But no, similar to the Blue Jays, I think the Twins need to prove it a little bit more. I think they have coasted by on the fact that they are in the Central and don't have to do anything to win it because the Central is so bad, which is why I put Detroit in the bad teams upside tier because they can lose to them. They almost did because Detroit snuck up at the end. But yeah, no, the Twins need to figure out something to start swinging it because they do have a lot of talent on that team to be doing all this mess that they've been doing. Edward Julian, is he going to be a stud? I think so. Is Royce Lewis the real deal? I think so too. The Twins can be really solid. But yeah, no, they definitely need to prove a little bit more. Oh, I've kind of talked myself into something here. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Seattle is not going in the World Series contenders where I previously thought they were going to go. They're going to do right behind Toronto in front of Twin Cities because they've gone to the playoffs one time in 10 years. Similar to Cincinnati. Similar to Minnesota, they have, Minnesota's won one playoff series in like the past 20 years or something stupid like that. Seattle's kind of in that same boat. Last year was really bad. I think everybody regressed. They somehow had NLDS hangover. I think that rotation is probably the best in baseball, 1 to 5. I really love the Mariners rotation. They actually have my second, third favorite pitcher in the league, depending on the day and how I'm feeling. And Luis Castillo, love Luis Castillo. I think he is really underrated. That lineup is interesting. Cal Raleigh, the big dumper. How's Ty France going to look? J.P. Crawford had a career year last year. Can he keep with it? Oh, and did I forget about Julio Rodriguez? No, I did not. This team can bang it. This team can run it. They got Mitch Haniger back, so maybe he gets some of that Seattle juice flowing back through them. I believe in the Mariners, but I still need to see more from them before I put them solidly into World Series contender. And I will say, from Toronto to Minnesota, everything past that, being the Chicago Cubs and the Cincinnati Reds, I think Chicago and Cincinnati are playoff contenders, but they are not World Series contenders right now. But the three above them are World Series contenders. Does that make sense? This tier list isn't super, super good, but I don't care. I don't care. I got you watching this far. Okay, let's get into the actual World Series contenders. I will fix this later on, but right now I'm just going to start filling it up. Let's start with the reigning, defending World Series champions, the Texas Rangers. Texas didn't do a lot this offseason. I think that's because a lot of it was tied up in their TV deal. But, I mean, they didn't really have to. This team's going to be pretty good. The rotation's a little banged up right now. How does the extra innings look on Nathan Eovaldi? Jacob deGrom's going to be coming back at some point along with Max Scherzer. However you want to take Max Scherzer. I mean, he's a ghost of his former self, let's be honest. But he's still a competitor. That lineup is, good lord. Marcus Semien, Adolis Garcia, Nathaniel Walker, Nathaniel Lowe, that's who I was thinking of. Josh Young, could be really good. I love Josh Young. I love the Rangers. I really do. Um, there's a player I'm forgetting. I'm just kidding. I didn't forget him. Corey Seager is the best shortstop in baseball right now. Can he stay healthy? He's starting the year on the IL again. That's been the biggest problem with Corey Seager. But he place MVP bets on him if you're a betting person, because I think he has the best shot in the AL to win the MVP this year with Shohei gone. I mean, even if Shohei stayed in the AL, he probably had the best shot to win it because Shohei is not pitching this year. But yeah, no, love the Texas Rangers, and we're starting to run a little bit long, and these teams a lot of people are acquainted with, so we're going to do a little bit of a speed round. Hate to do that, but we are running long. Next up, we got the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles, that lineup, 101 games, good golly. The rotation scares me, quite frankly. A lot of their pieces are injured and beyond. Grayson Rodriguez and Corbin Burns, I don't really know what you're going to get from anybody. I do know that they have Tyler Wells, who was solid for them last year. But is John Means going to come back healthy eventually? I love John Means. I'm rooting for him all the way. But is he going to be healthy? That's the biggest question with the Orioles. I'm not worried about the lineup. The lineup, I am not worried about in the slightest. I'm just worried about the rotation and a little bit the bullpen. They signed Craig Kimbrell to be the replacement for Felix Bautista, which is kind of funny because he's not a replacement for anybody right now. Craig Kimbrell's a Hall of Famer. He's still pretty good, but he does need a bounce-back year, which I think he's going to get in Baltimore. But yeah, Orioles definitely World Series contenders, and I love saying that about them. I love seeing them up there. We're going to shuffle this right now while I'm thinking about it. And, yep, that's about right. All right, let's go with H-Town. Houston. The Astros. I think I'm confident putting them there. The Astros, they're going to be World Series contenders every single year until they tell us that they're not. Jose Altuve is back. He's an Astro for life. He's going to be goated. Alex Bregman's in a walk year. Yordan Alvarez might be the best hitter on the planet. Kyle Tucker, King Tuck, is still going to do his thing. And they finally have a free up in the catcher position. So we'll see if Yanier Diaz can actually swing the bat. No more Martin Maldonado or Dusty Baker holding him hostage on the bench. Maldonado actually in White Sox, so he will be in proverbial hell. But Houston, I think the biggest question is that rotation. Framber Valdez, we'll see if he's back. He had a kind of weird year last year, but I'm excited for him. Christian Javier lost a lot of weight. Haven't looked at his spring training numbers, but I believe that he's going to be good and solid this year. Justin Verlander, JV, he's going to start the year on the IL, but he'll be back eventually. I think we all know what Justin Verlander can do. Even if it was what he did last year, that's still pretty valuable. And I think he likes Houston pitching-wise a lot better than he just fit in New York last year. I just don't think he was right from the get-go. What else can you say about them? They do have a lot of pitchers coming back from the IL, so I'll be interested if those are going to cause any impact. Lance McCullers Jr., I think, is still fighting his way back. Luis Garcia is also in that boat, so we'll see if they're able to make any sort of impact. But yeah, that's it for the Astros. We all know who they are, and we're not surprised. Another thing, Jeremy Pena. What happened there, dude? Come on, man, step it up. Let's go. Okay, let's go with my next one. That's going to be the Yankees. The Yankees are down here. The Yankees had an abysmal year last year, similar to the St. Louis Cardinals. I think everyone knows that that's not exactly who the Yankees are. That lineup, I think, is going to be severely better. Can Aaron Judge stay healthy? It's been the question his entire career. Alex Verdugo, I think, is going to be solid. The piece de resistance is Juan Soto. He's going to be great. Can they get a good year out of DJ LeMahieu? Anthony Rizzo is going to be back. He's going to be solid. How aggressive will they be with prospects is what I want to know. They were going to have the Martian in the outfield, but he unfortunately has to get Tommy John tore his UCL. I think in the final week or the second to final week of the season. Really tough. I would love to see Austin Wells at some point this year. If he's not on the club, I don't know. I'm not that tuned into Yankee land, but I would love to see a lot of Austin Wells this year. The rotation's scary. Nestor Cortez has not looked great in the spring. Neither has Carlos Rodon, which I am eating my words on because I really thought Carlos Rodon was going to be a stud for them. But Carlos Rodon just shows how much money that Max Fried's going to get in free agency, because if if Carlos Rodon is pitching like this and he got that much money, Max Fried's going to be like, give me money. Thank you. But yeah, the biggest question is the rotation. Of course, Garrett Cole's going to miss 1 to 2 months with Tommy John's. I'm so sorry, not Tommy John surgery. Garrett Cole's going to miss 1 to 2 months with an arm injury that we still don't know if he'll need surgery for or not. I think everybody thinks there's going to be some sort of surgery. But yeah, I like this Yankees squad. I would say they are World Series contenders simply because that lineup is so good. But I mean, once you get past maybe 5 or 6, it does fall off. And I don't want to put them in proven, but looking for more, because this is kind of a new feel Yankees team. I don't think they are proven, but I don't want to put them and don't sleep on them, because no one sleeps on the Yankees. No one should ever sleep on the Yankees in their right mind. I think everybody knows they're going to be good. And if I put them and do not sleep on them, it would be a 5th consecutive team with interlocked letters. I don't know if you noticed that yet, but I noticed that a while ago. I just didn't want to mention it. But my list, Yankees World Series contenders. Okay, let's go to my favorite team in baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies. Yay! Phillies are better than the Astros and the Yankees and the Diamondbacks, even if they lost to them 2 games at home. The Phillies have one of the best 1-2 punches in all of baseball in the rotation with Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola. That lineup can bang, but they are on the opposite of the aging curve, but that's not a problem for this year. That's a problem for maybe next year and the year after that. World Series or bust for them. That's bottom line. The Phillies rotation consists of, like I said, Wheeler, Nola, Taijuan Walker, who didn't get a single start in the postseason last year, which was really weird. They did pay him a good bit of money. I know he sucked, but I mean, y'all gave him the money. That was your fault. Bullpen is going to be the bullpen for the Phillies. It's exactly built for the playoffs, where they have like 3 or 4 guys who throw 100 miles an hour. That's all they really do. Phillies don't really care about the regular season, it seems like. I think they can win the division. They can certainly give the Braves a run for their money. They're talented enough to do it. Is that going to be an objective for them? Maybe. I don't know. But the Phillies certainly do have the talent to do it. That leaves our last team, the Tampa Bay Rays. They're going to be right here. Actually, I'll put them right there. They could be better than the Orioles, but I'm going to put them under them right now. Tampa Bay, that rotation is going to be really good. That lineup's going to be really good. But can they be consistent? They fell off so bad after the first half of the year. And we saw it in the playoffs. They have not really shown a good showing in the playoffs since 2021. The past 2 years have been just them getting dog walked, similar to the Braves. They got dog walked. Getting walked off by the Guardians is something else. And also, they got dog walked in the first round by the eventual World Series champion, Houston Astros. No, by the eventual World Series champion, Texas Rangers. So there's some merit in that. I mean, it's kind of like a consolation. It's like, hey, we lost to the future champion, so it's not our fault. It was just their year. They should be better than the Texas Rangers. In fact, I'm thinking about it real hard now, and I think I'm going to move Texas down here because I don't believe in their rotation. I'm actually going to... These are still the same. But yeah, no, I don't believe in Texas rotation as much as I believe in Tampa Bay and Baltimore's. But let me say, those 3 are incredibly close. Okay, so I said I was going to give you my standings as well, so let's get into that. Starting off with the AL West, it's going to look like this. 5th place, of course, is going to be the Oakland Athletics. 4th place is going to be the Los Angeles Angels. 3rd place is going to be the Houston Astros. 2nd place is going to be the Texas Rangers. And 1st place is going to be the Seattle Mariners. I think that the Mariners have an opportunity to get off to a really hot start with both the rotations of Houston and Texas being banged up, but they need to take advantage of that. So I'm thinking in my scenario they do that, and it's not because I'm a big Mariners fan. I love the Rangers as well, and I do like Houston. I have 3 teams in that division I really like, but I'm going to say that Seattle's time. See us rise. NL West, this shouldn't be too difficult, right? NL West, the Dodgers are going to win it, right? No, the Dodgers are going to win this rather comfortably too. Um, Second place, I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be Arizona. Then third place is the tough one because I do think that 1, 2, and 3 in the West are going to make the playoffs. And I think I'm going to say that it's San Diego. San Francisco doesn't have enough proven talent yet to be on San Diego's level of consistency. So I would say fourth place is going to be San Francisco and third place is going to be San Diego, which means fifth place, and it's decided already. It's been decided for years, is Colorado Rockies. No shocker there. Moving to the Central with the AL Central, in fifth place you have the Chicago White Sox. Fourth place, the Kansas City Royals. Third place, the Cleveland Guardians. Second place, the Detroit Tigers. And first place again are the Twins. I think the Twins just have enough talent to scrape by again. They can win 90 games, but please do it. Just prove that you actually are a good baseball team and not good because you play in the Central. NL Central gets a little bit tricky. Fifth place is going to be the Pirates. In fourth place, it's tough. There's a world where Milwaukee is in fourth place. There is a world, but I don't think they're there yet. But I'm going to say it's the Cubs. And it's not because I don't believe in the Cubs. It's because I think there's a lot more talent in the Central above them. I think it's going to be an incredibly close division. Third place, I'm going to say it is the Milwaukee Brewers. Second place, I'm going to say is the St. Louis Cardinals. And first place, returning there, is the Cincinnati Reds. I think the Reds have the talent to really go this year. I think this is going to be an incredibly tight division. It hurts me putting Chicago at fourth because it makes them sound bad, but they're not bad. And Milwaukee, I think, just has a lot of talent to get them by. But like I said, there is a situation where Milwaukee will finish fourth place. I think the clear defined five is Pittsburgh. They're just not there yet. But yeah, I would say it's Cincinnati, St. Louis, Milwaukee, Cubs, and then Pirates. It's an incredibly tough division to talk about, though. All right, let's move to the East, starting with the most competitive division in baseball, the AL East. It's a tough one. I'm going to say that right now the Orioles are still going to take it. I think Tampa Bay is going to be right there with them the whole way, but I don't know how you dethrone Baltimore at this point. Once they get all their pitching injuries back, hopefully they get all their pitching injuries back, they'll be able to work a little better, and I do think they have the chips to move in case they do need to get a starter. So, yeah, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Yankees are going to be there. Then, yeah, it's going to be Toronto. They're not making the postseason this year. And then, of course, the Boston Red Sox, who are beyond disappointing with their offseason. They don't know what full throttle means, and they act like they're Tampa Bay, and they are significantly worse at what Tampa Bay does in everything. So, yeah, Boston Red Sox, another year of finishing in fifth place. Even with a talented lineup, I don't know how they overcome all their shortcomings. And there's a world where the Blue Jays win 95 games. There really is. But they have to prove it. I can see them finishing third place in front of the Yankees, but I don't see them beating Tampa Bay or Baltimore. It's an incredibly tough division, and coming in fourth place in this division should be no insult to the ball club because it's just so tough. Okay, let's talk about the final one, and that's the NL East. Coming in at number one is going to be the Atlanta Braves. I don't think anybody would argue with you there. Second place is the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies certainly can overtake the Braves. I'm not saying they can't. They have the talent to do so. If they prioritize that, sure, it might be a possibility, but I think right now everybody would put their betting money on the Braves. So it would go Braves, Phillies, and Mets, but not by much. Mets at 83 wins in third place. Fourth place is going to be the Washington Nationals. I believe the Nationals, I really like them. I think they're going to be battling with the Mets a good bit of the season for that third place spot. And like I said, they might sneak into the playoffs. I don't think it's going to happen, but you can never say never. They certainly have sneaky, fun Cincinnati Reds magic on their side. And then in fifth place is the Miami Marlins. They did absolutely nothing to improve this offseason, completely banking on rolling in with the same roster. In fact, they're losing a bunch, including Jorge Soler. That rotation is going to be a mess without Yuri Perez or Sandy Alcantara. So, yeah, no, I'm not a big believer in the Miami Marlins. They crept into the playoffs last year by Devil Magic alone, and they're going to finish fifth. Alright, well, that's going to do it for me for this video. If you liked it, let me know. you want to follow me on socials, they are right up here. I'm a lot more active on Twitter nowadays, and I'm always active on Instagram. And on TikTok, looks like we're still rolling strong. I don't know what the status is on that band. I don't know. I think they're bluffing, but I could be very wrong. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. We are a week away, and by the time this video comes out, it will probably be the week of opening day. I am trying to plan something special for that, so if you do have any ideas, let me know in the comments, on Instagram, on Twitter, whatever. I'll be able to see it. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. But until then, have a good one.